Esoteric Meme Breakdown Episode 41, Deleuzian Son or Hegelian Daughter. On the right is a page from Bonn of Luxembourg's prayer book, also called a Book of Hours. This miniature, that is, this illustration found within an enlightened manuscript, depicts a vertical, spear-inflicted side wound on Jesus Christ's body that he received after dying on the cross when a Roman soldier poked him to make sure he had actually died. Also present in the illustration are instruments used to torture Christ. The text is part of a prayer describing Christ's suffering as he was crucified. Bonn of Luxembourg was of high society and lived from 1315 to 1349. It was common in this time for the rich to have luxurious prayer books. These prayer books were made for a single person, and people often touched or kissed their books, as prayer was an intimate process, a way to communicate with God. The elephant in the room is that it looks like female reproductive parts. While we may never know if Bonn was gay, it was rumored that one of her sons was gay. However, this is disputed. What is not disputed, however, is that while heteronormativity was dominant, stuff still slipped through the cracks, and the feminization of Jesus, for whatever reason, did occur. Instead of playing a PSP like in the original, the Deleuzian son is admiring the blurb on the back of Fanged in Noumena by Nick Land. The books from left to right in the foreground are Normal Life by Dean Spade, The Xenofeminist Manifesto by Laboria Kubanix, and Anti-Oedipus by Gilles Deleuze et Félix Guattari. Together, these books are a provocative statement on the character's interests regarding being, gender, capitalism, and other such topics that dance in the mind of a wide-eyed alternative Gen Zer with a penchant for the bleeding or otherwise edge. Author Nick Land, former professor, former member of the CCRU, which I've mentioned in a previous video, and current neo-fascist, was heavily inspired by the writings of Deleuze and Guattari, although that may not mean that their views are congruent. The book the son is reading was described in its slipcover blurb as Mad Black Deleuzianism, which is where the Deleuzian could come from. But let's take a step back for a moment and soak in the whole thing. Let's not lose the forest for the trees. On one side we see disembodied organs. To some, that literally makes someone a daughter, simply what reproductive organs they possess. On the other side of the spectrum is a person labeled a son who is overtly feminine and isn't interested in gender norms. This would then imply that philosopher Hegel, or the Hegelian school of thought, believe in a more conservative definition of daughter, and that the Deleuzian thinkers believe in a definition founded from a more social or societal context. The way we talk about gender identity today did not exist in Hegel's time, and Hegel certainly did not take a contemporary Fox News-esque approach, regardless of how flawed his actual opinions on gender may have been. Complicating it, there was a Hegelian left and a Hegelian right that developed after his death that had differing views regarding Christianity. Deleuze and Guattari had much more different views on gender, and some now argue that they may not have even believed in it as a thing. To summarize, this is just a joke and isn't meant to be taken that seriously, and I'm sure people have already started arguing in the comments before even getting to this point in the video. Keep an open mind.